Tākina mai te aro puanga nui o te rangi. Tūkau mā utonga I te mātonga tonga. Kauanare ua I te tonga māuru, pūtonga marangai, ko atu tai, te wetu tārake mai I te atapo. E te iwi tēnā koutou, kia ora katoa tātou. Kia ora everybody. Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho, connecting to you tonight on a number of different platforms. And last week I didn't have a live because I was in our Pō Roa. And we do a Pō Roa where we observe throughout the whole night and then the following morning do a Hau Hautapu. But tonight I thought we will do a summary of puanga and observations and just general kōrero. So I'm going to get straight into it and go on to our PowerPoint. And what I wanted to do is both share some reflection and observations of 2023, and want to also acknowledge the huge mahi that's been done by Rangi Mātāmua and all of the committee and everybody else, seeing all of the amazing light shows all around the country, seeing all of the different hautapu, and most importantly, seeing the intention that has been cast up to the heavens to ask for guidance at this time and to give thanks and be grateful. All adds to some beautiful magic for us as a people going forward. Hoi anō, let's get into things. And so I shared with you a few the other month about 2 different ceremonies going forward for puanga. And the first one, Te Mā Rua Roa, is a Hau Tuku, where in the evening we remember our loved ones and we send them to the pō at the setting of the sun. And we also, it's a chance to also do some reset. And when do you do this? We do it in the big moon phases of the last month. And it's an evening ceremony, as I said. And the two areas of focus, one is remembrance, where we call out the names of our loved ones, and we send our loved ones to the pō, and specifically we send them to the whata of Maru. And once the sun is set, you'll see that whata where you'll see tautoru, puanga and pūtara, and that creates a platform where you place the mate, and on that whata you then send them to te tatau o te pō and into the depths of the pō, where they then become where they are gathered in the great net of Taramainuku, and then referred to as Te Tini o Taramakau. And at that time, as the sun sets, it's a perfect time to also reset. Let go of any challenges, let go of any raruraru, any angst, any issues that are bugging you, and tuku atu. And if you've got a fire, it's perfect to place those into the fire. Just kick them to touch, send them away, goodbye, so that you can then reset and start your new year afresh. And then at the end of that ceremony, the next morning, you then welcome in, or call in our case, we call in the winter fish, which is the piharo. And you call it home, knowing that it's coming the next month. And you do that with intention, but also it's a good transition from sending the loved ones to the pō, and also sending all your challenges. You then focus in on ora. And you also use the energy of the big moon to transition from the pō into the light of Te Ao Mārama. And so this is pre-sunset as we're facing west, and you can see Taranaki just faintly behind that rounded little hill. And so you're facing west, and ka tuku, you tuku, which wai te Mā Rua Roa is a Hau Tuku. Then we move into te Tahi o te tau, which is the Hau Hautapu. And the key focus there is both reflection and reinvigoration or recommitment, actually. And so the timing for that is the tangaroa to orongo phases. And as per the matariki, it's a pre-dawn ceremony. And actually the timing, the best timing is you've got to keep an eye on the sun, but you're looking for when mahutonga is straight up and down, north-south. And which, as I started in my little tau to start this session off, said, taki no mai te aro o puanga nui o te rangi tūkau mahutonga i te mātongatonga. And so when mahutonga is in the mātongatonga, you know that rehua is about to swim in the waters of Tangaroa, and you know that Atutahi is Putonga Marangai, southeast. That's the perfect time to start, but you still got to keep an eye on the colour of that dark, that it hasn't started to transition into ao. So you've got to keep all of those things intact. Or you just say whatever the time is. But it's always good to set a estimated time, and then you wait for the tohu. And you're not waiting for your tupuna to say, hello, my mokopuna, it's now time to start. But you're waiting for something in your puku, or a flash of a star or something else that will say, okay, time to start. And as you're doing that, you're reflecting on, and as you reflect, you're transitioning your loved ones that have passed so that they become stars, so that they fly ki kohanga o te rangi, to the stars, to become hetu rikiriki in the heavens above. And it's also a good time to reflect on where you want to go this next year and the wānanga that you want to do over this winter period, because you've set and sent all of the bad stuff away in the Hau Tuku. And you do that to prepare for the dark nights and the long nights of takurua, of winter. Knowing that mental issues can often be draining during this end of autumn coming into winter, so you tuku it all, you let it go, and then you reflect and you learn through the wānanga. Then the second component is that it's a recommitment, where as you offer up your offering, and we refer to the offering as a wakahere or a whakahere, and as you give that wakahere, and a good way for me to remember is the karakia that Uncle Rico Broughton composed in the late 70s, early 80s. Nau mai ngā hoa o te wā o te ngāki no te waitai o te wai Māori. Nā tāne, nā rongo, nā tangaroa, nā maru. Those are the four atua that you're giving to. Nā tāne, nā rongo, nā tangaroa, nā maru. And so you're giving to tāne, so that's tāne, rongo mā tāne, haumia tike tike. So that's the reference to wild food. Nā rongo, rongo tau tangata matua, that's the gardens. And then tangaroa, the ocean, and maru, coastal and inland. So those four are the atua that you're giving to. And you recommit and you say to the atua, you say to the tupuna, yes, I'm here. And as I commit to you, I then invoke you to commit to me as well and to guide me on my journey. At the same time as you do that, you're also acknowledging that environment, and you're saying, environment, here I am. So with all of that, then there's the observations, and I'm just going to flick through a few photos. And when's the best time to do this? I'll cover that soon. But I had a chance to go to Matapauri, just north of Whangarei, and got to see this. And it was pretty stunning, actually. And then was also the next day in Christchurch, where it was a bit hazy and a bit wobbly too. And then the following weekend was in Twizel, and everything was clear. And then at home, and we were actually in the clouds as we did our karakia, and the different stars came out when we acknowledged them. So that was quite beautiful. So you've got puanga there, you've got matariki there, and they were out earlier, But once we went into ceremony, they decided to hide this year. And then from my house on the morning of the national holiday, where we had our boys, the secondary school, kapahaka, so didn't get to go to Rotorua. I was being a good dad. And so what's important? When do you observe? So many will observe during the tangaroa phases, which I've done as well. But also, I'll start to read when my body clock tells me to read. And I won't be reading every day until the tangaroa phases, but just when, it's time to go and have a look, I'll go out. And I started in Matapauri, which I think was it was Oturu, but it was a pretty big moon this month just gone. It was a massive big moon. And so it illuminated my photograph because it was setting behind me and it was just so bright that it looked fairly daylight in the photo. So that's the timing when I'd observe. And then what to observe. So I take notes of every place that I go to. I write those notes down. I see what's happening with the different stars. I'll log the similarities between places as well as the differences between places, and note where the stars are rising from, because that's key to reading puanga. And then those different places help me read when I get home, because I always do my principal read at home, and that's why we do the pōroa. And so I'll be doing my read, and then I make my conclusions, and I'll summarize my read, and then I'll wait and I'll compare for a good couple of weeks, if not a month, and compare what I've read in the stars or in the sky with what I've been reading on the earth, whether that's the trees, birds, soil, etc. I'll check those to then make my actual whakatau or my matapai huarere. And I suppose just in summary, some of the key things that I've been looking at as I've done this year has been that precipitation is still very evident, and I think it's going to be slightly different. There will be rain, and it will cause havoc. Mehe mea e oho tonu ana te Māori o tērā wāhi. But if kua tau te Māori, then you just got to keep an eye on whether it reawakens it again. But actually, there will be precipitation, but I'm wondering about other forms of precipitation. And so I'll check that with what's happening on the land over the next while. Ka te ake, e te iwi. Oops. Just finishing off with this beautiful photo from the brother Richie of us doing our thing back home in Ohakune. I want to acknowledge everybody and who's done everything to send some amazing intentions up to the heavens to be for the act of gratitude and the commitment that we've all shown to our environment, to our ancestors, and more importantly, to our future. And so as a descendant of Paerangi o te Maunga Roa, you see the Maunga Roa, the Milky Way there, above the fire, above the glow of the fire. And it's a pretty cool message connecting us te taurahere, ai te rangi kia tātou te taurahere ki te nuku. Tēnei ka mihi atu kia koutou, me te wakaere ake ki runga ai, te ruturo o iti o ka maua kia tīna, hui e, tā ai ki e. Kia ora everybody, pō mārire.